I've spoken before about how the fan reaction to the Lord of the Rings trailer is really what protected themselves from the normal attacks from journalists that you would expect in this. And it wasn't just that, they downvoted the video and ratioed it. No, it was more the comments. The fact that there was one single unified message from around the world. So many different people, so many different backgrounds, and so many different languages, all saying the same thing about one single IP. And that made the normal accusations of sort of everyone's a racist just ridiculous. You couldn't get such a wide group and call them that. It wouldn't make any sense. This made the journalists turn around and decide to side with the audience instead. All except one. There was one website that decided that they alone were going to stand against the forces of light, and while their old weapons no longer worked, they were going to try and forge new weapons of darkness out of humiliation, shame, and hypocrisy, and use those against them. Just to randomly throw things at them and see if anything worked. Now this website, this person, was The Gamer. The Gamer is a website very similar to the Babylon Bee, except while the Babylon Bee is satirical, The Gamer is absolutely serious. And when I say they're a serious website, I mean they're more like a charity for the mentally deranged. Now, the article itself is bizarre. It starts off just trying to crowbar off a little exception, trying to throw anything at the audience to see if they can find a chink in the armor. But then it just jumps to the most extreme of positions, calls everyone hypocrites, and accuses the fans of destroying Tolkien's lore themselves, rather than the Amazon show. I don't know what these people were on during this, but it's one hell of a read. So join me as we delve into the depths of darkness and discover The Gamer. And when I say The Gamer, I mean the website, not gamers. I'm pretty sure these people don't game. I'm not even sure they've evolved enough to develop opposable thumbs. Because obviously The Gamer in their opening salvo stuck to the standard NPC script that everyone is used to nowadays and nobody really cares about. But then, they moved on to one thing that I didn't expect. The fact that they're going to try and humiliate people or shame them over the quote itself. Yes, this was absolutely bizarre. That if you're going to be mad about the Rings of Power, at least get your quotes right, because the quote was irrelevant. It doesn't matter who said it. The point, the important point, is that all the fans got together and unified behind one message. It didn't matter whether it was Tolkien's or someone's mum. It was irrelevant. This is almost like me going to someone, can you please phone an ambulance because a Toyota has run over my child? And they're like, nah, it's not a Toyota, bruv, that's a Ford. It's like, I don't think it matters the brand of car that ran over my kid. Could you please phone an ambulance? And yet, no, these people, we want to appear smart, so we're going to attack the people who are actually trying to defend something they love, simply because of apparent wrongful attribution. But don't worry, because The Gamer is here to set the record straight. Now, as this is The Gamer, obviously we have to run through the standard NPC script first. So when someone brings up legitimate issues, they immediately jump to calling everyone in the audience racists and talking about the presumptuous patriarchy. But now we've hit the end of the dialogue tree, we might get something original. So they start talking about the quote and how obviously this isn't from Tolkien, no. This isn't from the professor. In fact, this has been found to become a website of TV tropes. Like that matters. It doesn't matter. Who it's from isn't important. When it comes to quotes, who it's actually from is the least important part about it. The actual quote itself, the meaning, the message is the weighty part of it. That is the communication that you're meant to get across to people. Of course, The Gamer has never said anything weighty in their entire lives, so that's completely beyond them. But now they think they found a chink in the armor and they're trying to desperately crowbar that open so they can start attacking through it like a pincer movement from hell. And they go, oh, well, obviously this doesn't appear in Tolkien's work. I mean, come on, even if you've read a sentence of him, if you know anything about Tolkien at all, you'll know that he actually writes far superior prose to this. Even The Hobbit, a book for actual children, has more complicated sentences. He was a professor of linguistics. How dare you think that something so simple and obvious could possibly be from such a great author as this? And if you ever wanted to know what happened when an NPC script breaks, this is it. The sheer arrogance, the sense of superiority, the desperate need to condescend from the mountain they think they are, looking down upon the plebs. Oh, you may not be able to appreciate Tolkien's work, which is why you can't see that this trailer is clearly amazing, but I can at The Gamer because I'm a journalist. I am a Tolkien scholar. Oh, it's just it makes your skin crawl. And now they've tried to use humiliation and shame to forge a chink in the armor. They sense flesh, and it's time to push. Which is why they go, oh, not actually that the professor would disagree. Yes, they've already insulted you, they've insulted the quote, but now it's time to actually prove that they not only know more than you, but you should actually do as you're told. You should submit to the gamer. The professor wouldn't disagree. Actually, he writes characters who echo this poorly worded sentiment. Frodo actually says something very similar. Treebeard 2 also agrees that evil cannot create and can only corrupt. Even the Silmarillion mentions it. They say, while I can agree that Amazon is an evil company, no, nobody cares about Amazon. Amazon isn't even really to blame for this. The blame for someone's creation lies solely at their door themselves. The writers, the showrunners, and the people in charge. To name someone as big and faceless as Amazon simply lets all of those people off the hook. But that isn't actually why the gamer said that. No, the gamer just wanted to sneak in a sneaky attack on capitalism. But desperate to keep on driving the wedge open, it says, no, but those aren't the reasons why people are misquoting Tolkien and calling the Rings of Power evil. Even if those were the reasons, spamming comments on a YouTube video won't fix the problems of capitalism. And I'm like, I don't think anyone thinks it does. No, what this is a message to the showrunners and the writers that what they're doing is wrong, that their entire creation is wrong. And people don't like it. That was the only message it was meant to send. No one thinks it's actually going to change anything because nobody has any faith in the people which are destroying Tolkien's legacy to begin with. But the gamer doesn't care about that. They're already done with their humiliation, and now they're trying to say, no, what you're doing, it won't work anyway. Everything you do won't work. And when people start telling you that everything you do is a failure, and why on earth are you even trying? It's doomed to fail. It's because they know it does something. The reason why you're so desperate to try and shame these people is because you know it carries weight. And they're just throwing things at the wall at this point, trying to see what sticks. Ultimately, I don't care why you already hate the Rings of Power 6 months before the first episode has even aired. I mean, yes, obviously, to work out that someone is destroying the lore, going against everything that is in the lore, and disrespecting Tolkien's legacy, obviously, you've got to wait for the show for that. You don't have to actually read the interviews of what the showrunner has said, or look at the content that they've already created and shown you, like the pictures, like the trailer, like everything that goes against canon. No, you can't just look at that and make a decision based on it. That would be weird. No, obviously you've got to wait for the actual show. And when you've seen the first episode and you're like, this is awful, you've made it even worse than we thought with the trailers, they'll just go, well, you haven't even seen episode 2 yet. What about episode 3? Why haven't you watched the entire series? They'll just keep moving the goalposts further and further and further, trying to make people feel inadequate, like they can't comment yet. And the reason for that is they just want everyone to shut up until it's over. And then they'll carry on with something else. And if they'd put out pictures and trailers which actually respected the canon, then nobody would even be talking about this. So the whole idea that you've got to wait for the first episode, the first series, the first 5 series, you've not even seen all 5 series of it yet, how can you judge it, is so laughably awful that they're really desperate to even bring it up. But if you're participating in pasting this misattributed copy pasta, I mean, seriously, for something that they say has so little effect, they really seem hung up about it, you're a hypocrite. Of all the comments that I never saw coming, the positions of attack, I never saw them calling someone a hypocrite. But why is even weirder. You think that the showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne don't care about Tolkien's text because of an armored Galadriel and an elf of color? You're not even checking that your quotes are something that Tolkien ever said. Do you see the hypocrisy now? And I answer to that, no. These people read the books. They went through and looked at everything. They knew that female dwarves had beards. They knew that the way people looked. They knew that actually the certain chemicals in people's skin, which are there for a reason, and that maybe dwarves don't need protection from the sun when they live underground and they're never exposed to it. And so actually, if they changed anything like that, it physically wouldn't make sense. I'm not the one making a show about that and doing lasting damage to a legacy, taking someone's work and perverting it for my own ideological gain. And you think that all of that actually equals someone not looking up a quote when who said the quote isn't important for reasons that I've already mentioned. The gamer took us on this twisted journey in order to try to confuse everyone people and then call you the hypocrites to say that you're the one which is actually damaging Tolkien's work, and they actually use this. Now they think you're at your position of weakness, they just go full off their tree. Use that Frodo quote above, or the Treebeard one. I've given you plenty of ammunition, because now the gamer is giving you permission. They're giving you permission to go out and quote things. Choose one of these. Do what I tell you. I mean, I don't like you, I don't agree with you, but you should definitely do what I say. Because if you don't do what the gamer tells you, if you don't use the exact words that they tell you to, then obviously you are destroying Tolkien's works more than the Rings of Power, or any TV series for that matter, ever will. Yes, this is the totally unhinged rant of the gamer. They don't see what's happening right now as a glorious unification of the fans against an attack on what they love, which is what it is. They have used the fact that apparently the quote doesn't come from who it is. Yes, they've tried to use an attributional mistake to claim that people posting in a YouTube comment will do more damage to Tolkien's lore, Tolkien's legacy, and the books themselves, the texts themselves, and all of canon than someone deliberately changing it, deliberately attacking it, and just taking everything and perverting it for their own ideological and political gain. I mean, they did say that spamming comments on a YouTube video won't fix any of the problems, but then, simultaneously, 2 paragraphs later, say that those same comments are so important, so damaging, that they individually will do more damage to Tolkien's legacy and his works than any multi-billion-dollar TV series ever will. To which the only thing I can say to the gamer is you're completely off your meds. There's something utterly bizarre about this. To take a unification of people against a common enemy, which is destroying something they love, and you try and say that they are the ones attacking it. You say they are the ones destroying the lore because they're posting comments on a YouTube video. And this is what they do when they find out their standard tactics don't work, when their script has broken and they're out of options and everyone else has already left them alone in the dark. The gamer sits on their mountain with their sense of superiority, condescending among the peasants that they can see revolting in the village below. And as the gamer stands there on their mountain, being ignored by everyone they're so desperate to command, they learn one final message: that nobody respects them, nobody likes them, and they have no power here. And that is why they were so desperate to try and tell the fans that they didn't. That their YouTube comments didn't mean anything. Well, if they don't mean anything, if it doesn't send a message, then why are you so desperate to attack them, to humiliate and shame them, to call them hypocrites and make up stuff which doesn't matter and command them to do something else? If none of it was important, then you could have left them there alone. The simple matter is, it did have an impact. It did make a change. This was a unifying message for all fans everywhere and a sign of what to do in the future when it was done before. Because the simple fact is, if those YouTube comments had no impact, if it didn't mean anything, if it wasn't sending a message to Amazon, then not only would the gamer not be mentioning it, but Amazon wouldn't have changed their marketing campaign. There was this video, which was meant to show, oh, this is the real fans, this is the fans and they love it. They took an entire influencer event to a castle and then quietly sneaked it out and didn't even mention it. It is not even on the main Amazon Prime. They hid it away on the UK one, and it's only got 3.2 thousand views because they never used it. They posted it, but never did any marketing. This was designed to send a message to the fans if they thought they could get away with it. If they thought the reaction was so small that they could smother it up and go, no, those aren't the real fans, those are just the racists. These influencers are the real fans, these are the people that care about Lord of the Rings, and they loved it. But because there was so much a reaction, because it was so obvious what had happened, they just snuck that out and quieted it away. They spent a fortune getting that done, and they couldn't even use it because the reaction was so strong and so obvious. This is why the gamer feels like they're spinning round in circles, like they have no idea what to do. Their NPC script has broken, and they're desperately trying to find some compass, some way of attack to get back in control. That is why the entire article just reeked of desperation, because it's true. So if you ever needed a sign that this can be won, if you ever needed a sign that you actually matter and your voice matters, that you can send a message, nothing for me actually beats this. I've seen properties destroyed, Wheel of Time was destroyed, but the fans unifying for this, for me, has been unlike anything else. The message that was sent out actually mattered and has had a visible impact on Amazon's marketing strategy. They took notice. Now, they may not change it, let's face it, they're not going to change because of it. But over time, this can have an impact. If we can keep this up, it has an impact, and that matters. And it doesn't matter what the gamer says, it doesn't matter what anyone says. They can't change reality with their random, insane ranting on a website. But for now, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like, subscribe, more videos like this in the future, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. For now, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.